pushing and no throwing. Those are always the rules in our house. So they honored those rules. But they were still arguing quite intensely. So imagine all that emotion being hurled back and forth, kind of like ping pong. And then it all stopped. And my mom went to her bedroom, slammed the door. My dad went out the front door, and he slammed that door too. That was how they left it. No resolution, nothing. Nothing was ever said. How do you think I felt? Powerless. I felt totally powerless. Second, I felt shut out. Bam, bam, those doors slamming. I can hear it today. And what happened? Spiritually for me, tracing that back, looking into it, was a closing of my emotional doors. I came to believe that my ideas and my words were of no value. I was 7. I was 7 years old. Do you think it was easy to live a nature of love? It wasn't. Yeah, I was really good at all the outward stuff. Cards, the gifts, saying the words. But the feeling wasn't as deep as I wanted. And there was a part of me that was careful not to express too openly for years. I had a hard time expressing from that deeper inner sense, that spiritual place, because it had been influenced by my experience. And every time I was in a situation that was the least bit confrontational, what did I do? I withdrew and I shut down. Did my parents do this to me? No. Of course not. I took it in. I saw the example and I took it as my own. These things are deep for us. Real deep for us. And so for 20 years after that, I unknowingly lived my life as a mouse. As a little mouse. Happy, scurry, beep, 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 cute, da-da-da, eking and shrinking inside the whole time. Each time something uncomfortable came along. And then, da-da-da-da, science of mind happened for me. I found this teaching in the 80s. I walked into the Chico Women's Club and heard the words from then Reverend Carolyn McEwen. Change your thinking, change your life. You can change your thinking, you can change your life. I like that. What's that mean? More than words, here again. More than the words. But that door, that inner emotional door, began to open just a little. It was then I knew it was up to me to do the changing. And that in that place were the tools that would help. And help they did. And I'm glad to say, I have changed. Not into something new, but to what I've always been. And what it did for me was to cause me to remember the spiritual love that had always been in here. In here. And so what I know about all of this is that when we make a call upon Spirit for change, we had better be ready to accept the responsibility for our own life. Because when we do that, we are better able to make conscious, new decisions. We must let go, give up of the old arguments and those auto responses we have come to love and enjoy because they're so easy, in order to make way for something greater. For something greater. And that something greater is our spiritual nature. Allow it to be seen more. The goal is to embody, I believe, the truth of our being in a greater way. So here's the statement of truth I invite you to affirm with me. I am love.
I
am loved. I am love. I am love. Last time. I am love.
I am love.
Expressing in magnificent ways. Expressing in magnificent ways. Expressing in magnificent ways.
Expressing in magnificent ways.
All right. How's that feel? Notice the shift in the expression and the focus on the different words. People say, yeah, I am. What did you say? I am. I love. You know, when you say it with feeling on the emphasis word, that's what you are announcing spiritually. And so, again, I have realized there must be an acceptance of the responsibility for one's own life in order to have the wisdom to make conscious changes. I had accepted God's holy invitation to love, not out there, in here. And so I urge each of you to say yes as well. Say yes to the invitation to love more, to love yourself more. And the more we are able to live in love, the greater that love shows up all around us. All around us. I am so grateful to be rid of that old mouse self most of the time. Because you see, part of there's a whisker or two still in there. You know, and it's a constant reminder of my truth that keeps the rats away from my thinking. Because at 7 years old, it was deeply influencing in my life. But again, I'm so grateful to say I'm mostly rid of that mouse self of my way. You know, you can just eat, or I can just eat one type of cheese just so long. You know, and then it's time for a change. It's time for a change. So, my friends, allow spiritual love to be the exterminator, if you will, of anything unlike itself, unlike love. And the moment you come to the realization that I want something different, or that this, whatever this is, this thing that I'm experiencing, no longer works for me, is the moment that each of us begin to live more from the heart as love. And we live more in balance as love with the mind of God. Because you can't get out of that. Sorry, folks. We live and move and have our being in this oneness of life, this mind of God, this spirit, this goodness. And we have many different little terms and aspects and ways to understand it, but there's only one. Did you know that love is stronger than any force in the universe? Did you know that? So remember, love is a self-givingness It is of spiritual nature, and it is the life force of creation. All of life. All of life. So always allow love to precede you into all you do. Let it go first. Invoke the truth of your nature as love. To take the first step, speak the first word, have the first emotion towards whatever's next in your life. Ram Dass writes, if we break our identification with our somebodyness, we can know the world subjectively, which is spiritually, from inside ourselves instead of as an object. That inside subjective truth of each of us is known as love. So when you let Spirit bloom in your heart, or when you live your divine nature, and when you show up in love, life will never, never, never be the same. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Namaste.
Namaste.
So it is.